What is up, my Shadowverse soldiers, and welcome back to another Shadowverse Evolved video. Alright, and for this video, we're going to be going over the first year anniversary Q&A that they had this past weekend, which was absolutely nice to do. Well, if you weren't in attendance this past weekend, both Ignidius and Different Fight had some pretty good answers to the questions I provided this past weekend stream, so I brought them here so I could answer them as well because I had some different answers. But I'm also going to invite other content creators to also provide some answers either in a video or down in the comments below. You guys are welcomed as well, viewers. I want some huge interaction because I want to know what you guys are thinking in terms of these questions and, you know, different card types and whatnot. I want to know what's in your guys' head. So here are my answers to the following questions, and let's go ahead and get into it. Alright, so the first question is, which Omen do you like the most and which Omen do you think is the strongest? If I had to choose what Omen that I like the most, I would definitely say that I like Valnarek the most. I think she's pretty cool. And then if I had to choose which one was strongest, in my opinion, I feel like Rayo was the strongest out of all of them. And with both of these Omens, I personally do like those. Rayo just for runecraft, and then Valnarek being an Abyss. So those are my top two favorite crafts, honestly. But I think on a deeper level, I like Lust due to Full Metal Alchemist. I loved all the homunculi and whatnot, and Lust honestly was my favorite. And then with Rayo, I think on a deeper level, there is just something with the number 9 and how they made it so well in terms of like a card type. You know, he's just a guy who has 9/9 in stats. He looks at the top 9 cards of your deck. He has 9 blades in his art, and just like a whole bunch of things with that Omen. So those are my two favorite. Alright, and getting into question 2, from digital to physical, what aspects do you like about Shadowverse Evolved that differ from the original game? Alright, so my biggest thing here is the evolution points, because I know in the digital game, you could only have like a limit of 3 to 2 evolution points, and in my opinion, I was like, okay, you know, that's alright, but I think going like longer into the games with those control matchups, you know, having more evolution points feels a whole lot better. But I know in the digital game, the rounds were a lot faster and whatnot, but I like the fact that we can evolve as many times as we want to and need to in a single game, so that's my favorite aspect. Alright, and question number 3, what would you say is a good starting class and deck? I'm trying to convince my coworker to play the game with me. I honestly think that Sword is probably the best starting deck to get with because you get a good amount of the Sword followers that you need. You can understand the basics of the game just from the stuff that you get. In terms of like the long run, it will be a little bit harder because certain classes have certain things, and I think like Sword doesn't have like its own generic type of thing, unless I'm forgetting something off of the top of my head. But I personally believe Sword is like the best to start with. But if you really want to take your Shadowversing, or I guess that's like a verb now, but Shadowverse to the next level and get super competitive, I definitely would get like the Dragon starter deck, get like a good bunch of stuff from it, and then you can evolve by throwing those new cards in there. But starting off, I would definitely say Swordcraft has like a good set of cards. You learn how to games played, you learn the mechanics, everything. You still turn cardboard sideways, and you could still pull off a win with just the starter deck. Alright, so 2 disclaimers. I have not seen Shadowverse Flame yet, and also this question was for both Ignidius and Different Fight. So, if you were both Shadowverse Flame characters, who would be your digital friend and why? Alright, so I'm not a huge chess fan, and this is me looking it up as I'm doing it, so I would think I would really like Milady to be my digital friend, because she honestly belongs to Runecraft. I can see that being in the Rune class. And I think the character that she hangs out with also is in the Rune class. I think that kind of makes sense. So I think it would definitely be Milady in like a really chibi form, like not what she's in the actual show. I'm seeing pictures of her and whatnot, but I think Milady would definitely be my top pick. Alright, so getting into the next question. So which are your favorite cards in terms of art, design, and playability? Alright, I'm gonna try my best not to be a Rune fanboy here, but it looks like it's gonna look that way. So in terms of art, I'd say the Cornelia Lee Britannia leader is my favorite because it kind of just like hits all the notes. If you've watched Code Geass, like it gives her her commanding position and everything. I really enjoy that card. Alright, and in terms of design, I would definitely say Wizardess of Oz is my favorite. because, you know, ever since the CCG, I saw her like a pretty cheap leader to like rock as a profile. I bought it, and then, you know, her animations and whatnot was pretty cool. So I was like, okay, yeah, this is a pretty cute character. And then she came to the physical card game, and then I was like, all right, I'm ready for this. And she summons the magic sediment, you know, replaces the card out of her hand after you play her, and then you can play a spell that's 4 less for free. And I was like, okay, I like her. And then lastly, in terms of playability, you guys are probably going to be really shocked that I'm going to say this, but I think it would be Forte, because she is honestly such a broken card in one turn. Honestly, there's no interaction. I mean, there's probably interactions now that can make you stop taking 7, but she's a card with Storm and Aura, and she's swinging for 7, and there's nothing you can do about it unless they make a card or some skill that gets over Aura, which I don't think is happening anytime soon. But, you know, knock on wood, there still might be potential for that. But I think Forte is just strong. It's always going to be a card that's going to be in Dragon decks unless there's going to be a better card that comes out, which I'm honestly having nightmares just thinking about it. Okay, so moving on to the next one. Do you have a pet deck? Example, a build that you enjoy playing even if it's not the strong in this format. I'd personally say it'd be any of my rune decks, because a lot of the rune decks aren't very strong. They're definitely huge cope. But if I were to say like a simple deck that is just really bad, I would say it would be Fairy Spam. That deck is definitely running off of Copium. I'm looking forward to when it really gets strong. It's still not going to be meta, but I think it's still going to be very strong. So I'm looking forward to that, because I have it sleeved up. I played it. I enjoy spamming out a whole bunch of fairies just to get buffed, just for them to get removed, but still fun to play it. Okay, and moving on to the next one. What leaders in the mobile game do you wish we had in Shadowverse Evolve? Alright, so for this one, I have multiple answers. So the first one would definitely be a second wave of the Shadowverse Flame leaders. I personally would like to rock the Rune leader for that class. The second one would be Street Fighter. I know that's like a huge wish list, but I'm like a huge fighting gamer at heart. I absolutely love fighting games. And then the third one would definitely be Grand Blue Fantasy. I believe it in my heart that's going to be a collab coming into the future, but I hopefully for like Vera, Abyss Leader would be pretty clean. Alright, and last question, what card do you wish could have evolved? Alright, so I looked through the entire card list, so I'm gonna put it into 3 good cards. The third one might be a really hot take, but the first one is going to be Lashena. Lashena definitely needs to evolve. She is just so bad to play. I don't see a good situation unless you're playing a friendly match where you can play Lashena and then like not really care. I feel like if she had like an evolve where you spend 1 to Evo and then you make those amulets like free from your EX area and you play them, then, you know, it'd be really worth. But I think she's number 1 in terms of what I feel like should evolve. Number 2, I believe Fairy Whisperer. I feel like she definitely needs more stuff to do instead of just playing like 1 fairy. I'm pretty sure that's what she does. And I know you can just, you know, loop her with just, you know, doing bounce effects with Forcecraft, but I feel like if she had an evolve, she would be a little cooler. And then number 3, which I know you guys are probably going to like jump down my throat about it, I believe Dark Angel Olivia should be something that should evolve. And that's not for, you know, a card that needs to evolve. I just want to see what else they would print if she were able to evolve. That is something I would definitely look forward to. I wonder what ability she would have if you evolve her, what her stats would become, but Dark Angel Olivia evolve. Let's go for it. Well, alrighty guys, that is the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. Please share this with all of the Shadowverse Evolve community. I want everybody's like answers. I want to know what you guys are thinking in terms of these questions, like, because I know I'm like a huge like Rune fanboy, and I feel like if this video gets to like Burn One or anyone, they definitely have different ideals and stuff like that. If this goes to Dean, I know he's a fellow Runecraft lover too, so I want to know what his thoughts are too. Just all of the Shadowverse content creators, if y'all could just answer in some sort of way, either in video format or just for in the comments. I want to know what you guys are thinking. Well, alright guys, make sure you're safe in whatever you do tonight and safe whatever you do for the rest of the year. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.